It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Hey everyone, it's Aaron from Got a Minute. You guys know I've been talking about the Cop28 stuff, the potential Daniel 9:27 covenant. We don't know. We're kind of still in that window of time, but an interesting thing just showed up. I just kind of put a couple things together. So go with me on this blood moon thing and this eclipse thing and this Cop28 thing. So Cop28, Craig was saying that it ends right around December 7th, more or less. Well, I went to time and date December 9th. There's a blood moon on that day. And so 2550 minus 2,550 days from that date of December 9th, that gets you to December 16th, 2023, which is approximately right around the end of this Cop28 thing. So I think they're going to wrap things up around December 12th. December 14th is more or less the new moon. So more or less from the new moon of this year to the full moon where there's a blood moon, December 2030, December 9th, is 2550. If you add 1260 to 1290, that's 2550. So the interesting thing about this is, I'll show you over here. Before I show you the blood moon, this is the solar eclipse that goes over the island of Patmos. Remember I told you about that? So there's that. You can see it goes over Israel, goes right over Israel, goes over top, and it comes back down. So that's that. And then the next eclipse is the eclipse in November 25th. It goes underneath Israel. It sort of makes a bit of a smiley face down there. Goes below it. So, Israel is right in this area. Okay, so we have an eclipse that goes above and we have an eclipse that goes below. This is in 2030. And then the last one to share would be this one. And this is the blood moon. And here's the really interesting thing is it's really at its fullest at Israel's midnight. So I'll pause it right around here, give or take. So again, here's the Israel area. And Israel is about 2 hours ahead of UTC time. So this blood moon is really at its core blood moon time right around the midnight hour, more or less, UTC time. And not only that, it's really visible throughout the entire world. Isn't that interesting? And you guys are familiar with the blood moon verses in Joel and Acts and of that nature. So the cool thing about all this is we have a solar eclipse in the summer that goes above Israel. Then we have a solar eclipse that goes below Israel, and this is all in 2030. So it's kind of like circling Israel. And then we have a blood moon really in its fullest, or prenumbrial eclipse, at its fullest over Israel right in the central area. Isn't that cool for 2030? And if you take that date of this blood moon after these solar eclipses, it brings it to the end of this Cop28 agreement. I think that's really fascinating. I think that's really interesting. Also, if you subtract 1,290 days from that final day, December 9th, that blood moon, it brings you to May 29th. And so on May 29th on the Torah calendar, it happens to be the fast of Jeroboam. And this is when, so 1 Kings chapter 12, I did a little read there. And essentially it's when Jeroboam has the 10 tribes of Israel, the 10 northern tribes of Israel, worship 2 golden calves instead of going to Jerusalem like they were supposed to go. So they're worshiping other idols. They're worshiping, golden cows. And it's kind of, in a way, an abomination of desolation. It's almost like this could be the midpoint as well. So late May could be the midpoint. What else did I have up here that I wanted to show? And I just wanted to remind everybody that this eclipse is coming up. This is the April of 2024 eclipse. And that will be the final eclipse that, in my opinion, marks the judgment over USA. Remember, we talked about an eclipse coming over here this direction and an eclipse coming over there in that direction. So that's kind of the third and final eclipse going over USA. Right over here, there's a little town called Omega. There's a lot of things that we talked about a few months ago on these things, but just want to remind you of that. And Another thing that I wanted to show here was on Stellarium that on December 9th, 2030, that full moon, that blood moon, that prenumbral eclipse is in the horns of Taurus. And, that's another picture of, judgment. So, again, the big thing that I wanted to show here, I'll just go back one more time to this blood moon. I'll show you one more time from start to finish. It's really at its fullest right in front of Israel. And then it kind of starts to go back to normal after it leaves. So Israel that night will be one of the best places to be standing to see this blood moon. And so that's 2,550 days from the end of this Cop28 agreement. Could it be the covenant? Again, I'm not quite sure. But it's quite interesting how these eclipses seem to line up nicely with this. Time will tell if that is the case. And like I said, the longer we're here, the more that April 8th eclipse, the more interesting that April 8th, 2024 eclipse comes to me. That's sort of my next fence post of thought. But most importantly, guys, it's so important to enter into a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so please check out my salvation verses in the description box below. Hop into the community and ask questions where you need to. Get tight with Christ. And I will see you in the clouds very soon. Go, Jesus, go. One day closer. Adios, muchachos.